Hey everyone, welcome back to YJ Yoga. Today we're going to show you tips and techniques on two postures. The first one's Cobra, and it sometimes gets confused with upward dog. Our goal today is to focus on upward dog, something that you'll find more in a vinyasa style practice. Again, this isn't a posture that you would hold for a long duration of time. Cobra, on the other hand, you could hold that for a longer period of time. Now what I wanted to offer you today is both postures are full body. The upward dog is more of the body, right? It's more using full body engagement. It is considered a little bit of an arm balance, and you do want to make sure that you are a little bit warmed up in your wrists, and in your hips, your back, and your legs, and that you have the strength to hold your body up. And now if you're just simply curious about the tips and the techniques on the poses, then you can just watch the video and enjoy it. If you're someone that practices regularly and you simply just want to view another method of it, I mean, it's all going to look the same, but maybe just different cues on what to be aiming for, then yeah, have at her there too. So I'm going to get started, and I'm going to go into Cobra, Bhujangasana, and I want you to get a little bit visual with this. So Cobra is making the body sort of resemble the snake, a cobra, and the actions of the snake. So you got to think about that. A snake can't roll its head back, and a snake cannot separate its tail, right? It doesn't have legs. So you want to think about, in the area of coming to Cobra pose, lay down, and already you want to take your legs and bring them together as best you can. Now you want to have your feet face down so that your toenails are pressing in towards the mat, tops of feet, and then you want to flex through the legs. Now at this point, you want to take your tailbone and sort of do a little bit of an anchoring towards the heels. Now roll your feet to the little bit of your baby toe side, just so that you're not squeezing your bum in. And if you do that, if you roll towards the baby toe side of your feet, it helps loosen up the glutes a little bit. The glutes are going to fire up, but they are not going to do the job for you. Okay, then you want to take your hands, and you just want to put them by your rib cage. So get a big shoulder roll back through the deltoids. Get the scapula, the shoulder blades, on your back body, and hug your elbows in and slightly down towards the floor. This will help keep the shoulders rolling back. Now in this pose, you come up on an inhalation, so flexing the legs, pressing tops of the feet down, pressing dexterously into your hands, all 10 fingers, and press up simply just to lift the navel off the ground. Now you can already feel that you're going to want to squeeze your glutes. So fire up those legs, press those toes into the mat, and press into those hands. Hug the elbows in and use your core strength. Engage your core. Don't let your belly sag to the floor. And then you just look where your eyes are gazing forward. You don't wrench the neck back. Everything is nice and long, just like a snake. Then you slowly lower down. So that's a lot of work, that pose. I know that it is a lot of work. Now the next pose that we're going to do is we're going to go into our upward facing dog pose. If you practice something like vinyasa, flow, or you're interested in getting into that stage of practice, you will be doing a lot of upward facing dog positions, and they're just a transition pose. So you want to make sure that you're ready to do that posture, and I'm sure that you are, but if you're not, just take your time and stick with Cobra during the transitions until you're warm enough, feeling strong enough, ready enough to hop right into that upward facing dog pose, which is a nice strong full body posture. With this next pose, it requires a lot of length through the thoracic part of the spine, so the longer part of the torso, the longest part of the spine. You do have a lot of support with the neck. The cervical spine gets pulled up with gravity, and the lumbar spine gets pulled down with gravity, okay? I will say one more thing. The latissimus right here, your latissimus muscles, they can be a dominant towards getting the shoulder blades onto the back, getting that pectoralis region open, getting deltoids back. What you're wanting to do is get the back body, so the spinal extensor muscles are working for you to help bring that broadening open of the chest and the shoulders so that you're able to get that upright position in holding the upward facing dog, the thoracic part of the spine inverting. Okay, so we're gonna start on the belly again. Okay, now this one, your feet can be together, or for me, I personally like to keep them a little bit apart. I mean, it's however you feel. So you're gonna take the feet, I'm taking mine hip distance apart so they're not super wide, and then you're gonna press the toenails, flexing the tops of the feet in towards your yoga mat, taking the hands again a little bit by the ribs, and then so they're not underneath the armpits and they're not forward, so they're a little bit back, and then you're gonna roll the shoulders back. Okay, once you come up, just tuck your toes under so that you're supported in a little bit of a stance. Lift your belly, push up, and then put your right foot, then your left foot over again on the toe side, face down. Roll your shoulders back and basically putting the shoulder blades on your back body, pressing through all 10 fingers, pressing the mat. It's almost like you're pushing your body away from the floor, feeling gravity pull the lumbar spine down to help get that upright position in your thoracic spine, and then not dripping the head back. You want to look where your heart is sending and then gaze forward. From there, if you have the strength in the front of your neck and your body's more upright, then you can choose to pull the chin in, opening the nape of the neck, which is the back of the neck, and then gazing up slightly. Where I like to gaze personally is where the wall and the ceiling, the crease where it meets. It's a good focal point to focus on so that you're not hinging your head back, creating damage in your spine. So put your knees down, then come back to a bit of a child's pose if you're following along physically. If you're watching, that's fine too, if you're taking notes. Okay, so we'll try that one more time. So as you can see, that pose is full body. Okay, it requires a lot of strength in the arms, the abdomen, a lot of strength in the legs, and that pressing in down with those feet. So sometimes we get in upward dog, the tendency is that you get a little lazy from the hips down, so the legs aren't working fully and the feet aren't working fully. And then that makes you sag in your lower lumbar back, and it's not gonna be a positive thing in the future if that keeps happening. So remember that upward facing dog is a slight arm balance with a full body use. All right, so a lot of major muscles are going on here, especially in the shoulders and the arms. It does require a bit of strength there, but over time with practice, it will come. Okay, flexibility as well through the fronts of the hips, mobility in your back. So placing the hands a little bit below the armpits, so by the upper ribs, I usually say like the pecs or the ribs. Then you spread the fingers. Okay, tuck your toes under, lengthen your leg, come up into a bit of a plank here. And then when you go to roll forward on the tips of the toes and placing your right foot, then your left foot on the toenail side, face down with the feet, and then pressing through the arms nice and strong, engaging the legs, using a bit of those glute muscles, really fire up that core, and then put your shoulder blades on the back, really accentuating the spinal extensor muscles, and then getting that lift going through the chest. Then you can pull your chin in to open up the back of the neck, and then looking slightly up, not wrenching the head back. Should be able to breathe smooth. And exhale, drop the knees, bring the hips back towards the heels. And you can just lengthen out here in a child's pose, resting the lower back, letting the muscles release there. Okay, so a couple tips, techniques to get into upward facing dog. Maybe you're starting with Cobra, using those tips and techniques, and then upgrading yourself to the next position. So Play safe, get on your yoga mat, and keep practicing. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.